Can you hear the birds? Oh, that's pretty nice. Spring is coming. Welcome back to the channel, guys. If this is your first time here, my name is James and this is Killingit Country. I live in Ontario, Canada on a nice little piece of land, and if there's something interesting that's happening around here, I try to make a video and upload it for you. So if that's your thing, hit that like button and stick around with me. It'll be fun. Today's video is going to be about doing the annual maintenance on my Kubota front mount snowblower. I know what you're thinking. You're looking around, you're going, but James, there's a ton of snow and you could get more snow. And you're absolutely right. But we have a nice long range forecast coming up. I'll throw that up on the screen. Check it out. I see a 10. So I'm going to risk it. I'm going to do the maintenance. I'm going to put it away for the year. If you're already a subscriber, you know that I love that front mount snowblower, even though I just did a whole bunch of work to it. I'll link here to the gearbox replacement from not too long ago, as well as the 5-year owner's review. I do like having it on the tractor when there's a lot of snow, but it does take away a lot of the functionality of my Kubota BX. So I'm looking forward to getting that loader back on and getting the snow melted and out of here and getting some warm temperatures and great things to come. So that's it. Let's do it. Alright guys, so I got the snowblower in the garage, check it out. I have it set up on top of a skid. Got the quick hitch there. Had a couple of heaters blowing on it for a little while to warm things up a little bit. So if you're coming along for the ride here, you might be wondering, is this something that you can tackle by yourself? And my opinion on the matter is that if you are removing and installing this snowblower onto and off of the front of your BX tractor, chances are you already have enough of a skill set to get this done on your own. I'm assigning this like 1 out of 5 stars for maintenance difficulty. So what we're going to tackle today is the oil change in the reduction gearbox. And if you're not familiar, this is your reduction gearbox right here. It takes the power from the tractor in through the input shaft here, and the discharge shaft comes out on the other side. The discharge shaft from the reduction gearbox is the input shaft to this gearbox, which runs your auger flights. So we're also going to be doing the oil change in this guy here. We'll be greasing this auger and the bearings on each end, and then we're hopefully going to pressure wash it if it's not too cold outside. If I can do that without a freeze risk, we'll go ahead and do that. So the job back here on the reduction gearbox is pretty simple. I've already got the wrenches set up. The fill plug is a 19mm wrench. The overflow is a 13mm wrench. And the drain plug down here is a 10mm wrench. There's some grease nipples back here, so we will need a grease gun to service this kind of stuff. On the auger gearbox at the front, all we need is a 3/16 Allen key. It may be a metric Allen key that would fit in there a little tighter, but I've got a 3/16 that I think is going to do the trick. So I have my manuals out here on the workbench. That's the manual for the actual snowblower itself. Open to the maintenance page, ready to go. Here's the operator's manual for the male quick hitch and subframe. Opened up to my maintenance page, and I do have the information sheet that came with the drive kit, the BX2755HD drive kit that gets installed onto the quick hitch, but I don't think there's too much information in there in terms of maintenance information, so we're just going to hit those grease nipples with some grease. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is drain the oil out of the reduction gearbox. And look at the location of that drain plug. Does that drain plug look like it's on the bottom of the gearbox or on the side of the gearbox? Because as far as I'm concerned, that's on the side of the gearbox. And the reason why that's not ideal is because when you're draining oil out of this thing, you're never going to get all of the oil out of it. there's always going to be a little bit of oil left in the bottom. That's where the sediment collects. That's where any contaminants or any metal shavings off of the gears are going to settle out at the bottom. So I'm actually going to try to tip this up on its side today so that I can orient that drain port to make sure that it's the low point on that gearbox when I'm draining it. To tip it up, I brought over an engine hoist. So we're going to give that a go. It's probably going to be a little bit awkward, but I really want to make sure that I'm getting all of the oil out of that thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to use this piece of cardboard and cut myself a piece of cardboard that can actually fit down into that pocket and will allow the oil to drain onto the cardboard and run out the front of my skid here and into this drain pan. It's a real pain. If that drain plug was right in the bottom of that reduction gearbox, and Kubota made a provision in the bottom of this receiver, drilled a hole so that you could get up in there with a ratchet or something and undo that drain plug, you could drop that oil directly into a pan without having to make a mess all over the inside of this receiver. It's a real pain, but we'll get it done. I think that'll do it. So let's undo that drain plug, 10 millimeter. Get these wrenches out of the way for the time being. You can see that oil running down that tray right now. So now that that's started, I can remove those other plugs. You really see that flow pick up once you pull that plug out of the side. The air needs to replace the oil as it's leaving the gearbox, or else it'll create a vacuum. Alright, let that drain. Let's have a look at this quick hitch. So you can see we have a grease nipple here and a grease nipple here. If we roll this thing over onto its side, you can see we also have a grease nipple in there on that U-joint. Other than that, the locking mechanism here There's a spring in there. I'll probably hit some of this stuff with some undercoating before I put it away, just to make sure that it all stays in good working order and is ready to go for me when I reinstall this thing in the fall. So, let's get the grease gun out. I've got a lock and lube connector on the end of my grease gun. I will, if I think of it, throw in a link to that. They're not sponsoring me or anything like that. It's just a lot easier if you are doing this with one hand and you have a lot of grease nipples to put grease into. Free up a hand. And I'll just show you there. You can see how the grease is being pushed out from around that bearing. I like to give it enough pumps where I can start to see some new grease. Maybe not new grease coming out all the way around, but at least get some new grease coming out there. We'll do the same over here. Yeah, that grease is squirting out the other side of the bearing, so that's good. Roll this over onto its side. It's tricky. And that grease nipple's oriented perfectly for me. If it's not oriented perfectly, you may have to manipulate the drive shaft a little bit, or the PTO shaft, into a position that's easier for you. There you go. That's got a few good pumps into it. And just for the sake of being done this part, let's go over to a flammable locker. Grab some Crown rust protection and lubricant. It doesn't have to be this brand, you guys. Get anything, any kind of a rust inhibitor, a long-term storage kind of thing, be fine. Hit any spots you want with it. Anywhere you see rust, anywhere the paint's gone. I think the manual actually says that spline should see some grease a couple times a year, but I don't see any problem with that. I would say that's about it for that. Should maybe get something down inside those bushings. Wonder what I have that I can put in there. Maybe just a bit of motor oil even. Just gonna put a little splash of motor oil down onto those. That'll be just fine. Wipe off any excess that's dripping around. And that's it for that one. can set that aside. That's ready to be put away. Just wipe off those grease nipples and put the caps back on. Okay, finished draining yet? Looks like it might be pretty much there. So, I think I'm going to put the plug back in temporarily. And we'll try to tip this up on its side. It might be not even worth it, but we're going to give it a go. Even if it doesn't end up doing anything for us, you can still watch me struggle. It'll be fun for you. I mean, it's definitely on a better angle for that, but it could be better. I wonder if I should just back the tractor in here and lift it up with the loader using the straps. I think that's what I might do. If I'm gonna do it, I may as well do it right. It's not an ideal situation. I don't think I'd be working underneath that loader, but I'll be off to the side. It's only going to be for a few minutes, and you don't have to do something crazy like this, guys. You can go get some kind of any kind of a vacuum pump would probably do the trick for the most part, whether it be an electrically driven vacuum pump or like a syringe style automotive extraction device. I mean, this is going to some extreme lengths to try to empty that gearbox, but like I say, I want all the old oil out of it, and quick and dirty gets it done. Still quite a bit of oil in there. Come on, Kubota. Drain plugs in the bottom. I love my Kubota stuff, but come on. So that I can get the grease gun put away, I'm just gonna grease this auger right now. So you'll see there's a grease nipple there. There's a grease nipple there. There's a grease nipple here. And there's a grease nipple here. There is also a grease nipple, which is a little bit tricky to get to, down in the back there. So this is the reduction gearbox where we're just changing the oil. And right down in there, see that? That's a grease nipple there too. So I'm gonna grease those 5 grease nipples, and we'll get the grease gun put away and move on to filling the reduction gearbox. So we've replaced the bottom plug. We're gonna fill the reduction gearbox from the top plug until we start to see oil running out of the center plug. This center plug represents the level to which you want this gearbox to be filled up to when you're operating it. When the oil starts running out of this plug, you quickly replace the plug, and then you're good to go. So let me find a funnel and we'll do it. So you want to fill the reduction gearbox with SAE 80W90 oil, AGMA 5EP extreme pressure oil or equivalent. I'll put that up on the screen as well. You'll know it's gear oil because it stinks. So let me know in the comments, guys, when do you do your maintenance? Do you do your snowblower maintenance right away when you're done with the equipment in the spring? Or do you do your maintenance in the fall just before you're getting ready to put the equipment back into service? I tend to like to do it right away when I think of it and when I have the time, because I don't know what my life is going to look like in the fall. I might be busy. We might get a huge snowstorm and I just want to put this thing on the tractor quickly and get to work. If I have made note that the service has already been completed, then I can do that no problem, but it wouldn't be a lot of fun to be forced to put a piece of equipment back into service and know that you haven't done the maintenance as per the manufacturer. So let me know, what do you guys prefer and why? I see the level. That worked out good right as the funnel emptied. Funnel was empty, started draining out of the side of the gearbox. That's perfect. There's nothing worse than you know, having the oil start running out of this hole when your funnel is full of oil. So again, this was 13 millimeters, this plug. And we'll replace that vent cap. Which is 19 millimeters. All right. And when you go to place this piece of equipment back into service in the spring, it would be smart to undo that plug. See if anything dribbles out the side of the gearbox. If you can't see anything, just grab a small zip tie or something and just put it in there. Pull it back out, use it like a dipstick, see if there's any oil in there. It would be terrible for the oil to have drained out of this thing over the course of the summer. So definitely, just because you're doing the service, in the spring, it doesn't mean you shouldn't double check your work in the fall. So we're done on the back side of this machine. Okay, so I've just gone into the recycle bin and just grabbed myself a cola container and cut it up just to use as a little drain plug for under here. And feel the drain plug with my finger. Okay. So this will be factory oil from Kubota because I just changed this gearbox this spring. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link up to the to that video as well. I think I already linked to it at the start. So now I'm gonna have to pull the rest of these out as well. Probably not gonna see a lot of oil come out of there unless you have a way for the air to enter the gearbox and replace the oil that's being drained. If you just pull the one plug on the bottom, you're gonna be creating a vacuum inside the gearbox and the oil will not be able to escape, especially when it's as cold as it is today. See that? It just started running out. Yeah, that holds quite a bit more oil than you might think. So let's go ahead and pull the top plug out as well. Look what that's doing to that Allen key. You able to see that? That is tight. I may have to remove that bracket on the top. That bracket there. And use a proper Allen socket to remove that one. Let's plug this bottom drain with my finger and empty this little cola container because it's getting pretty full. Okay, I'm going to pull this bracket off. I don't really have much of a choice. I don't want to wreck that plug. I actually purchased a new one of these brackets, so it's kind of funny that I'm finding it necessary to undo this. The mounting holes where that bracket kind of doubles up on those two bolts at the top of the gearbox, they're kind of beat up a little bit, and I didn't like that, so I bought a new one of these. We'll put that on today too. Here's the bracket I'm talking about. Kubota part number 70060014110. Worm gear support. This 3/16 is like, There you go, guys. So they're actually 5mm, not 3/16. 5mm fits a lot better. Let's get a ratchet. Nice. This is it. Last thing I have to do. Oh, and put a new bracket on. Yeah, here we go. Okay. The drain plug is reinstalled. So the next step is to, just like the larger gearbox in the back, we're going to put gear oil in here until we see it run out of here. When it starts running out of here, we replace that plug, and we're done. I don't think I have a funnel that small, but I'll have a look. It's not quite full yet, but you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my my drain plug for the front, and I'm going to get it ready ahead of time with a little bit of thread sealant so that I'm not rushing when the oil starts leaking out of the front of that gearbox. I think I see something. You see that? Good. I will tighten that up in a moment. Put this one in the top. You don't want to go crazy tightening these up. Crack that housing and you'll be crying. Just ask me how much that gearbox cost. That's it. There we go. There you have it, guys. It's not that crazy of a job to do, and I think that if you have basic hand tools and basic knowledge, you can do that yourself. Like I said before, I'd give that a 1 star out of 5 on the difficulty factor. Takes a bit of time. You don't have to be crazy like me and tip the thing up on its side and get every little drop of oil out of it, but if there are contaminants in that gearbox, they're going to the bottom and you will not get them out unless you tip that up on its side or you suck the oil out somehow. So that's all there is to that job. If this helped you at all, and I hope it did, please consider subscribing. It's definitely a big help when a small channel is trying to start out. I love doing this kind of stuff, and you'll see a lot more stuff like this moving forward. So that's it for me today. Take care, guys. We'll see you in the next one.